Tonight, finally, stories of the road home after being forced out by wildfires.
I'm just glad they're back safely.
Emotional reunions in Yellowknife weeks after an entire city was told to run. While in BC's interior, many get their first glimpse at what little is left.
It's all gone, yeah, absolutely.
No interest rate hike for now, but for some Canadians, the damage is done.
I had to work second job to cover those costs.
And one millionaire goes to extreme lengths to live longer.
Do you want to live forever?
I want to have the option every day to live tomorrow.
We're going to break it down. Is it fantasy or is he funding the fountain of youth for the rest of us?
This is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
After spending weeks evacuated and on a razor's edge, tonight Yellowknife is finally open. Roadblocks into the capital cleared. Last month, fires forced 20,000 people to flee under a haze of fear and smoke. Now the immediate threat to Yellowknife has receded. The city spared. Residents are finally coming home. Juanita Taylor made that same journey back to Yellowknife herself. She starts us off tonight with the stories of a city coming back to life.
The line of cars grew all morning. Yellowknife residents anxious to get home.
I want to get home to my wife and my job and, back to normal life.
Oh, well, we're excited about getting home, so looking forward to carrying on as soon as we can.
It's been a trip, I'm telling you. Whew. I think it was a little bit too long.
This man slept in his car the night before.
How anxious are you to get home?
Oh, very. Yeah, looking forward to my own bed and a shower.
Allowing him to be the first in line to pass the barricade.
Okay, Darren, let's open this up.
Others arrived home by air on government and commercial flights. Volunteers answered the call to drive people home from the airport.
Welcome home.
Hey, welcome home.
It's awesome. No complaints.
Thank you. We're grateful.
Everyone's grateful.
Calgary, we thank you so very much for your hospitality. God bless you all.
It's so nice to be home.
This family overcome with emotion, reunited after being separated for 3 weeks.
I'm just glad they're back safely and they're okay because they were in Calgary. I was in Edmonton only, and so I was far away from them. But we checked on them once in Calgary, and thankfully they were well taken care of.
It was quite a journey, yeah.
This is what the people of Yellowknife, Detta, and Dilo are coming home to. A wildfire still burning, leaving a trail of destruction, forcing over 20,000 people to flee. The city says it will be seeking a third-party review to see what worked and what could have been done better.
It's an important part. This is a major event, and so it's important that it gets the debrief that it needs.
Juanita, you're home. We're so glad to see that. And as you see people streaming in, is it your sense that the city is ready?
Well, Adrian, it's going to take a bit of time for things to get back to normal here in Yellowknife. We visited one of the main grocery stores here, and it's staffed at only 25%. Its manager says that if a tsunami of people come in, it may be hard to keep the shelves stocked. And school, well, it's scheduled to begin the middle of next week. Adrian?
All right, Juanita Taylor back home in Yellowknife. Now to a much different homecoming in BC's interior, where evacuees were allowed to return to the North Shuswap area. The Bush Creek East fire scorched a massive area in the region east of Kamloops, and it's still burning. Its growth has slowed. The situation's safer for now, but as Brady Strachan shows us, communities have been disfigured. Home for some, forever changed.
Returning to the North Shuswap region is a drive along a road of ruin.
The fire was moving so quickly, there was very little anyone could do.
An inferno that struck here so intense that firefighters couldn't save their fire hall.
It's all gone, yeah, absolutely. We had 2 bays out the front, we had 1 bay out the side. It housed 4 fire trucks at the time. We had
some also lost their homes.
We've had multiple firefighters who have lost everything and have come back to fight the fire in the days and weeks after. I'm just absolutely astounded by the resiliency of these people.
The damage here in Scotch Creek is extensive. Some neighborhoods, like this one here, were razed to the ground, where other homes not far away were left untouched. The Shuswap is one of the hardest hit regions in BC. At latest count, more than 150 structures are destroyed.
It is a bittersweet day because we switched from one phase to another, and this is an opportunity now for residents to return to their properties which are still standing.
Emergency officials are lifting evacuation orders that will allow an estimated 10,000 people to return. Chris Jensen knows his home is still standing, but he's anxious to see what remains of his community.
Pretty hard to put into words. I think we're just feeling glad to finally have this day to do it.
He's thankful he still has a home to return to.
We're looking forward to drinking our own coffee and grilling our own steaks and having our dog run around in his own yard.
Officials warn that for some people, their neighborhoods are forever changed.
Residents will certainly not recognize the town once they get in here. There's certainly a great deal of destruction.
He says the return of people to the area is an important step in a process of recovery that will take years to complete. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Scotch Creek, British Columbia.
There's a bit of a financial reprieve tonight for millions of Canadians stretched by the rising cost of living. The Bank of Canada is pausing its aggressive interest rate hikes. The decision to hold steady comes after a series of increases, 10 to be exact, all over the course of the past 18 months, which brings us to today. The key interest rate, 5%. Keep in mind, that is a number we haven't seen in decades. So right now, there's no indication that number is going down anytime soon. And as Nisha Patel shows us, many families are already being forced to make some difficult decisions.
Shahan Ahmed's timing couldn't have been worse. He bought an investment property in 2021 when interest rates were near zero. Just a few months later, they started to spike.
It is taking a big toll on us, yes. It's a lot of stress, a lot of sleepless night.
Payments on his variable rate mortgage have almost doubled, and he's barely keeping up.
We don't have enough savings left, so I had to work second job to cover those costs.
Costs that could have gone up again, if not for the Bank of Canada hitting pause on interest rate hikes. The central bank says the economy is slowing, the job market is cooling, and consumers are spending less, all caused by higher borrowing costs.
I'm in the camp that says they should have stopped at 2.5%.
Jim Thorne runs an investment firm. He says the central bank should have ended its rate hikes last fall.
They're going to go too far, and that means Canada's going to have a hard landing in 2024.
In other words, a possible recession. What's not yet clear is how difficult it will be.
The labor market will experience further weakness as a result of the lagged impacts of these interest rate hikes, which obviously isn't great news for Canadian workers.
Still, the central bank's goal right now is to get stubborn inflation under control. And this economist says, though painful, the hikes were necessary.
High inflation is a big problem for Canadians. And it's sometimes underestimated how much it really impacts the economy.
Inflation in Canada hit 3.3% in July. That's still above the central bank's comfort zone. The bank warned if it sees any signs of inflation surging again, it's prepared to raise interest rates even further. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
So as Nisha said, the pause in interest rate hikes is clearly not the end of the story. So let's talk about that with senior business correspondent Peter Armstrong. Peter, what's your sense of where things go from here?
Look, the sad reality is things are likely to get worse before they get better. Just about every forecast out there shows Canada's going to slip into some kind of a recession. The question is how deep and how long and how bad will that downturn be?
So let's walk through that a bit, because I think some people think with, with interest rates staying put, that's the end of the harm.
Right.
Yeah.
So remember, all those interest rate hikes were designed to slow down the economy. So as we bought less stuff, the economy contracts, employers hire fewer people, eventually start laying people off, and we're seeing all that. But the trick is it takes a good 12 or 18 months for the full effect of those interest rate hikes to get absorbed into the economy. And so where are we now? Well, about 17 months ago, the interest rate hiking cycle began. So we're just at the beginning of this slowdown. The full effect of most of the hikes we've seen over the last 18 months has yet to really be fully absorbed into the economy.
And I don't want to be the one to say the word recession first, but I just did it.
Right.
If there is one, can the bank not just start cutting rates to stimulate growth?
It can, but how bad do things have to get for the bank that's just spent the last year and a half raising rates to start cutting? And if it takes that long for rates to get absorbed into the economy on the way up, it does on the way down too. There's a lot of questions about where we are. We're going to hear from Tiff Macklem tomorrow. Hopefully he'll give us a sense of where he thinks we are and where we're headed.
All right, Peter Armstrong, thank you.
You bet.
In Toronto tonight, a boy is charged with second-degree murder after the death of a 12-year-old girl. Police say she died at this apartment building last night. The accused was taken to hospital where he was treated for injuries before being arrested. The identities of everyone involved are not being released because they're all minors. And in Ottawa, police now say 2 men shot and killed at a wedding over the weekend were not the intended targets.
Approximately 50 rounds were fired into the crowd on Saturday night. It is clear that this could have been a much more deadly attack.
Both men who died were from Toronto and in their 20s. 6 other people were injured. Investigators say there's no indication this was hate motivated. So far, there have been no arrests. Now to Ukraine and one of the deadliest Russian missile strikes in months. At least 17 people were killed. And as Chris Reyes shows us, that attack coincided with a surprise visit and significant support from the U.S.
A deadly strike in the middle of the afternoon. The horror and confusion captured on CCTV after a Russian missile hit a busy marketplace in Ukraine's east, about 30 kilometers from the front line. A pharmacy worker said she saw a flash and told her colleague to lie on the floor. Shortly after, everything was covered in smoke. Ukrainian soldiers carried off bodies amidst the wreckage. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attack and described the city as entirely civilian with no military base nearby. The strike happened on the same day Ukraine's air defense system shot down missiles over Kyiv. Wednesday's attacks coincided with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's surprise visit to meet with President Zelensky and other top Ukrainian officials. He didn't come empty-handed.
We're announcing new assistance totaling more than $1 billion in this common effort. That includes $665.5 million in new military and civilian security assistance.
In another show of support, Blinken stopped for McDonald's with Ukraine's foreign minister, both speaking to the reopening of the restaurant in the country as a symbol of hope. Later, Blinken praised Ukraine's progress in claiming back more than half of the land seized by Russia since the start of the war. Blinken's visit closely watched back in D.C.
No doubt this is part of the administration's attempt to convince Republicans not to abandon Ukraine.
Blinken made it clear the U.S., at least under President Biden, will not waver. To date, the U.S. has committed $43 billion in aid to the country since the war began. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Now, that missile strike by Russia is shattering, no doubt about it. But lately, Ukraine is striking back, hitting targets inside Russia. Later on the breakdown, how much damage are they really doing? Back here in Canada, there are now 96 confirmed cases of E. coli linked to an outbreak at daycares in Calgary. Alberta's healthcare provider says 22 people have been hospitalized, all of them children, and some are seriously ill. 11 daycares are part of this ongoing investigation. They all get their food from the same kitchen, but the exact source of the infections has yet to be identified. And there are growing concerns tonight about a rise in a different sort of infection. Scientists say more rare insect-borne diseases are popping up in this country. And as Lauren Pelly tells us, climate change may be making things worse.
Mom's right here. Hi, buddy. It's okay.
Catherine McKissick's son Cameron spent a month in a Toronto hospital suffering from dangerous brain inflammation. Lab reports later showed the 6-year-old was infected with Jamestown Canyon virus. It's a rare but rising threat spread across North America by mosquitoes, and one his mom had never heard of.
How do you protect your child from a mosquito?
The family didn't travel this summer, so she assumes her son was bitten right in their own community. McKissock now worries more Canadians could be at risk.
I'm really hoping
that they start testing for these things and they start watching for it and studying it a little bit closer.
We actually don't really know how much of these infections are here, and there certainly is a major knowledge gap.
This doctor warns limited testing and awareness means many cases of insect-transmitted infections could be underreported, even though climate change is fueling their spread.
We're seeing, shorter winters that aren't as cold, and basically the expansion of insects that can transmit these infections.
West Nile and Lyme disease are two of the big ones. Once rare in Canada, thousands of cases have been reported in recent years. Surveillance is also ramping up for other diseases. Ontario just began tracking 3 more tick pathogens this summer, all of which can make humans sick. But the province didn't provide any data. CBC News reached out to every regional health unit and found there could be dozens of possible cases already under investigation.
Of course, it starts out that way, and then, what it'll look like 5 years from now, we can only imagine.
Other leg. McKissick's family now uses bug spray, one of the few tools she has to try and keep her kids safe. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Oshawa, Ontario.
Climate change is also at the center of a dramatic melt.
It's very challenging to see it disappear like this.
Why scientists are worried some glaciers won't survive.
Don't get angry with me.
The Rolling Stones roll out a new album.
When a lead singer says he wants to make a record, you put him in the studio.
And an ancient discovery in an unexpected place. We're back in 2. Those are rescuers in southern Brazil who are using boats to search for survivors after a cyclone that has now killed at least 31 people. Severe flooding has washed away homes, vehicles, entire hillsides. At least 1,600 people are now homeless. And a powerful storm also triggered severe flooding in parts of southeastern Europe. At least 10 people were killed in Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria, where roads and homes have been washed away. The floodwaters so powerful in one region that cars were literally carried out to sea. And climate scientists confirmed tonight this is the planet's hottest summer on record. In the 3 months from June to August, the global average temperature was 16.8 degrees Celsius. That is well above the average over the last few decades. And as global temperatures keep climbing, glaciers are shrinking at an alarming rate. That includes Canada's Peyto Glacier, which is high up in Banff National Park. Dan McGarvey joined a Canadian scientific expedition to study the possible impacts.
A team of researchers from the University of Saskatchewan takes to the skies over Banff National Park, high above remote mountain tops and pristine lakes, to glaciers and ice fields, and one that's disappearing faster than even they expected.
Well, dramatic change since last year, which itself had been dramatic change from the year before. This is the final end of our ice age. It's happening right now in our lifetimes.
For decades, Peyto Glacier's been a global reference point for scientists who measure the ice's thickness and its retreat. They say this year is on track to be one of the worst they've seen, adding to an already historic melt-off in 2021.
Normally the glacier would retreat 20 to 30 meters per year. It retreated almost 300 meters in 1 year after that. It's very challenging to see it disappear like this.
And then add 360 millimeters.
There's now a snowball effect of factors that could see this glacier and others disappear in our lifetimes. Peyto Glacier would usually have fresh snow on it at this time of year, but it's already melted, and without that fresh snow, it can't make the ice it needs to survive.
It gets into this death spiral of when we have this kind of heat. The heat itself melting things, and then the soot from the fire darkening the glacier, causing it to melt faster.
Other scientists who also study the glacier say that means it's getting much harder to monitor as it melts and collapses.
It's getting more and more difficult to access the glacier to do our field work.
We're also seeing new crevasses open up in new places, as well as holes and parts of the glacier actually falling apart.
Eventually, scientists will move on from Peyto to study glaciers that aren't melting as quickly, leaving this landscape to change forever. Dan McGarvey, CBC News, Banff, Alberta.
Canada has officially entered a new partnership with a bloc of Southeast Asian nations known as ASEAN.
Canada is committed to increasing our engagement and being an even more active presence in the region.
The Prime Minister took part in a series of talks with member states committing to opening new trade offices and pushing Canadian exports. He also says Canada will invest in more sustainable energy in the region. Next up, Trudeau is off to Singapore before heading to India for the G20 summit this weekend. Well, a millionaire is determined to live long and stay young.
My heart is 37, my diaphragm is 18, my left ear is 64.
How he's taking extreme steps to reverse the signs of aging.
I would take these roughly 64 pills.
That's just for the morning.
That's just the morning.
And Ukraine is bringing the war to Moscow's front door with the help of drones.
You only need a few pounds of explosive and you can do a huge amount of damage.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
Now Brooks. Yes, sir, and the lead grows.
That is Canada beginning to pull away in the quarterfinals of the FIBA Basketball World Cup, a trend that continued with the team eventually beating Slovenia 100-89. Now Canada is off to the semis. That is the furthest they've ever made it in the tournament. They'll be up against Serbia on Friday. Canadian singer-songwriter Bruce Guthro has passed away.
The dimming lamp of day leaves the crimson foam and spray on the waves of the mighty Atlantic.
The Cape Bretoner was lead vocalist for the Scottish Celtic rock band Runrig. He also found success as a solo artist in a career spanning 40 years. Guthro died from cancer on Tuesday. He was 62. Well, the Rolling Stones have confirmed a new album is on the way, their first with original material in almost 20 years. As Margaret Evans shows us, for a band with such longevity, this is a highly anticipated new chapter.
Three Musketeers together again, offering a sneak preview of their first new material in nearly 20 years.
The Rolling Stones.
Talk show host Jimmy Fallon was on hand to shepherd them through a live broadcast.
Don't get angry with me.
The single for the video scrolls back through time, conjuring up the band in younger years.
This is the 24th studio album. Can you remember the press conference for the first?
Keith and I were in a pub in Denmark Street, and we had the album, and there were two journalists. We bought them a pint of beer. We said, here's our album. That's it. Have a listen.
Nearly 60 years later, Denmark Street is still here, along with a guitar shop that once housed the studio where the Rolling Stones recorded their first album. Owner Crispin Weir says fans still make pilgrimages here.
I don't think anybody's gone on and done it as long as they have, and what's so unique is they've done it all their way.
And they're still a top touring band, even after the loss of drummer Charlie Watts in 2021. The new album includes 2 tracks Watts recorded before he died. The remaining Stones show no sign of slowing down. Now the elder statesmen of the rock world, their sheer longevity is seen as an act of rebellion all on its own.
This was music that initially was meant to embody youth and embody rebellion. And we're now getting to see what happens as it grows old.
It's clear they're still holding on to a few rock and roll cliches, but this album marks another turning of the page for one of the world's most enduring bands, nonetheless. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Mick and the boys aren't the only ones who refuse to act their age. Right now, trailblazers are working on a scientific fountain of youth. Let's get into that with tonight's breakdown, where we explore the news shaping your world. The leading edge in the fight against growing old.
I'm aging slower than the average 10-year-old.
Turning back the clock in ways we can measure. The promise for the future astounding.
I see most chronic diseases absolutely gone.
They say they're gaining years. But what does it take to defy the march of time, and is it an option for you? Ioana Miliotis breaks down the answers.
It's a new era in aging, where the fountain of youth is less of a fantasy and more a promising reality. Mice are getting younger in labs. New drugs seem to stop the clock. The future seems ageless. But here in California, Brian Johnson is out to prove that future is already here, and he's it.
If you imagine how we're going to live in 20 years from now, that's what I'm doing today.
Buckle up, because what the 46-year-old tech tycoon is doing is out there. Johnson is spending $2 million a year to be 18 again. That includes blood transfusions from his teenage son and being hungry all the time. And nope, it's not crazy, he says. Quite the opposite.
And so in this moment in 2023, what is the genius move for the human race? What is a thing we can't see? And in my estimation, it's something just so, it's like dead simple, right in front of our face. Choose existence.
Existence, as far as he's concerned, there's no real end to it. Johnson gave us a tour of his modernist home equipped with a state-of-the-art clinic.
So this is a blueprint clinic. It changes all the time. Like you'd put this on your arm and like stamp it out. It tells the genes to behave in a more youthful state.
This is where a team of 30 experts are conducting his one-man experiment. Johnson calls it a blueprint for the rest of us.
A blueprint is an open scientific question of where are we with the fountain of youth? And to do that, I've become the most measured person in human history. And we use all this data about my body. We look at all the scientific evidence. We design a protocol to say we want to maximally slow my speed of aging and reverse aging damage. And then we share everything with everyone. 1.8, so even better than last time.
And he is a sharer, especially online.
It's 5:30 right now.
He wakes up at 5:30 a.m. after going to bed at 8:30.
This is just a very small demonstration.
Check out his pantry, not a cookie in sight.
I would take these roughly 64 pills.
That's just for the morning?
That's just the morning.
Johnson takes a ton of supplements, eats mostly grains and vegetables, and his last meal is before noon.
Keeping your leg straight.
He powers through daily exercises.
Yeah, just don't look at the red light directly.
And does a lot of skin treatments. None of it looks like fun, but he says he's never felt better, and he is proving age is just a number, or in his case, a bunch of them.
Where are you at with your age, your biological age?
My heart is 37, my diaphragm is 18, my left ear is 64. So some of my biological ages are in great shape, some are not. We're not in a situation where we've reversed my biological age by decades. But if you're looking at my DNA methylation patterns, which you cannot see with the naked eye, that's telling you that I'm aging slower than the average 10-year-old.
What does that mean in terms of lifespan or health span?
Okay, let's just say science allows me to age slower so that I get September, October, November, December for free. And so the key thing is you want to slow your speed of aging, because as we move into the future, you could probably do better and better and better and better until we get to the point where 1 year of time passes and I stay the same age.
Okay, I think it's great. Thank you.
Okay, we have to admit, our heads were spinning a little after the interview. But we wondered, what can Johnson's extreme experiment and his data teach the rest of us, who, like us, still enjoy the occasional burger? We took that question to Dr. Leroy Hood, who lives in Seattle. Hood is pushing 85, but his biological age is 70, thanks in part to 200 push-ups and 100 sit-ups daily. The vigorous exercise keeps the renowned biologist young in mind and body. And that's good, because Hood says he's still got a lot of work to do.
How do you feel knowing that you've taken that many years off your chronological age?
You know, I'm delighted because I have a big project ahead of me that's going to take 15 to 20 years, so I'm going to be around to see the end of it. this gives you an idea. Oh, wow.
That project is also about using data to transform health.
What do you take? Okay. So, I mean, what don't you say?
Hood takes supplements too. It's part of a customized wellness plan based on his genetic risk profile. And he wants to design a healthcare system that does that for everyone.
So really, you're looking for signals or warning signs before they become too difficult to treat.
That is exactly right, and we're utterly confident for most chronic diseases we'll be able to find those signals.
So when you look at the future, where do you see chronic disease or cancer, Alzheimer's? Do you see them gone?
When I look at the future, I see most chronic diseases absolutely gone.
It's extraordinary. Hood's vision is all about keeping people healthy until they die of very old age. To do it, he needs a lot of data, so he can build on the research he and his colleagues have already done.
So these are cold rooms and tissue culture rooms and things like that.
In the last 5 years, Hood and his team have tracked the medical information of nearly 5,000 people. Using genetic and other high-tech diagnostics, they helped boost their health and minimize their risk of future disease by making data-driven, personalized adjustments to their diets and other lifestyle factors. In one case, Hood and his team found a warning signal that prompted a woman to push her doctors for a colonoscopy.
Just as they started the colonoscopy, they ran into an enormous colon cancer. And the next day she was in surgery and had it out just before it metastasized. You know, data-driven health there said, gee, there's this signal that is something's really wrong. You've got to find out what it is.
Hood's studies have found nearly 200 signals of early disease, and he wants to find tens of thousands more. It's why he now wants to collect health data on 1 million people and use machine learning or AI to sift through it all. Hood says that means we could all have personalized guidelines for healthier living in the near future.
What it will give each of us is the ability for our health span, the number of years we live healthy, to equal our lifespan, which is the number of years we live. And the second thing it'll do is give most of us a guarantee we'll live with health spans out into the 90s or even into the hundreds.
So you don't think it's a fantasy to imagine living to be 100 in good health?
Not at all. And I only have 15 years to go, so we'll see.
In Hood's world, people could share their information on their phones. There are caveats. The data has to be protected, and more than anything, people have to be willing to share it. And that's what worries researchers at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, who question how representative any huge health data pool would actually be, because they haven't been able to pull it off.
Just put it over top of your nose like we've got something.
The team here is tracking 50,000 Canadians for 20 years for one of the world's most comprehensive studies on aging. Most of the participants are Caucasian, and that's typical of most health research.
So we'd collect lots of clinical data, social data, psychological data.
Parminder Raina is running the study. He says recruiting racialized communities is tough. He thinks AI-driven personalized healthcare has incredible potential, but not if diversity is missing.
Who's at risk of being left out?
I think that's a very important question that we have to address as a society. We have indigenous populations in this country on whom we don't have a lot of data. Our immigration patterns are changing rapidly. And if those people don't participate in research, if we don't have good data on those individuals, our AI models are not going to be able to address the needs of those populations.
Back in Venice Beach, the millionaire we came to meet isn't exactly hanging with the locals. He knows he's not the everyman, but Johnson says everyone can still learn something from his data.
So how accessible is it though? Because what you're doing is pretty extreme.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing is extreme and it's not accessible for most people. What I hope to achieve is with my data to be the evidence to say it's worth it. So for someone to look at me and say, you know what, I believe the data and I believe it is worth my time and attention to go after this. Even if I can't do all of it, I believe that the science is there to significantly extend our lifespans and be much more healthy.
Do you want to live forever?
Yeah. I want to have the option every day to live tomorrow.
So, Yo, aside from not having the millions or the mindset, frankly, to do this, did you walk away from this experience thinking this is a little odd?
For sure. And at the same time, we also thought he was kind of human because he talked about growing up eating a lot of junk food, being a workaholic, and his life now is so regimented, it doesn't look like fun. He says he's never felt better, and he does seem genuinely happier. He struck us as that. And when you look at what he's doing, it's extreme, but it's also based on the basics, on eating well, sleeping, exercise, and most of us are not going to do what he's doing, not to that extent, but most of us can probably improve on those fronts, and in the process, add years to our lives too.
Joanna, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Ukraine puts Russia on the defensive. We break down Ukraine's drone attacks, but are they effective? Next. Ukraine just gets bolder as it strikes back at its Russian invader on Russian soil.
We are fighting on different level.
They're spending a fortune on drones that are hard to detect.
This is one of the keys to the ending this war.
But beyond the fireworks, what's their real impact? Here's Briar Stewart to break down Ukraine's brash offensive and how it's forcing Russia to react.
Drones are bringing the war home to Russia. In recent months, there's been a significant increase in the number of attacks. We track news alerts for what's going on in Russia, and even now as we're filming this, I'm getting messages about suspected drone attacks. Here's one. Explosion in the sky as drone intercepted by air defense in the Moscow region. Here's unverified video. Gunfire was aimed at the sky during a suspected drone attack in the Pskov region. But how much damage are these drones causing, and what is Russia planning to do about them? Ukraine is usually tight-lipped when it comes to these attacks, but why are we seeing a surge now? Here's what we know. The drone attack started against Russia last year. One targeted the Angles Air Base in Saratov, Russia. Satellite pictures in December showed a number of strategic long-range bombers parked on the tarmac. And Russia said in the weeks that followed, Ukraine launched 2 separate drone strikes, killing at least 6 people.
The key thing about drones is that they do give you that precision, so that if you're attacking a particularly vulnerable target and you can hit it accurately, so if you've got something like fuel storage or gas storage or ammunition depots, or indeed aircraft parked on the runway, you only need a few pounds of explosive and you can do a huge amount of damage.
But it was an attack last May that really highlighted how vulnerable Russia can be. 2 objects were seen flying straight towards the Kremlin, the very center of Vladimir Putin's grip on power. There was an explosion right above the Senate Palace. Russian officials say those drones were intercepted, but more have kept coming. One Russian media outlet says that since February 2022, there's been more than 500 drone attacks on the country. Debris has hit skyscrapers in Moscow. Airports have had to close their airspace several times. A train station in the Russian city of Kursk was hit last month. And about a week later, Russia saw its most widespread drone attack yet. 7 regions were targeted, including an airfield in Pskov. That's more than 600 kilometers from Ukraine and about 60 from Estonia's border. Russian officials said in that attack, 4 military transport planes were damaged. So what's Russia saying? Well, the Kremlin has vowed retribution and says it's looking to see where these drones are being launched from.
Сатанисты американские, британские, европейские.
One of the most prolific propagandists, a bombastic host by the name of Vladimir Solovyov, said that if the drones came from NATO, then nuclear weapons must be Russia's response. He also openly questioned how Russia is going to be able to handle an even more heavily armed Ukraine.
Но если мы с беспилотниками не можем справиться, как мы будем с F-16 справляться?
Not surprisingly, President Putin is saying very little about this, but a couple of months ago, he did admit to a room full of military bloggers that the drones are a challenge for the country's defense systems because they're calibrated to detect missiles.
легких, из дерева сделаны, вот, и достаточно сложно обнаруживать их, но они обнаруживают.
There are reports that Ukraine even hit a Russian airfield with drones made of cardboard. So, what does Ukraine say about these attacks? Well, not much. They don't normally take direct responsibility, but that seems to be changing. On social media, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said the country was able to hit a target 700 kilometers away with a weapon produced domestically.
We actually are capable of producing drones that can fly much farther than that. You know, triple, quadruple this distance. It's the only question whether actually we need to do it, right? Because there are a lot of targets which are much closer.
Experts say we're seeing an increase in drone attacks now simply because Ukraine has ramped up production. That push began last summer, and by the fall it became very clear about the damage drones could cause. Kyiv came under attack several times by Iranian-made kamikaze drones. This year, Ukraine plans to invest $1.5 billion in drone production, and some of the drones are designed to fly in groups. This unverified video reportedly shows an attack on Crimea in August. Russia says 42 drones were used. Experts say when they're sent in large numbers like that, it's easier for at least a few of them to slip through Russia's air defense systems. So where does this all lead? There hasn't been major damage to any Russian city, nor have the attacks significantly affected Russia's military might. But it is forcing the country to beef up its air defense systems, and that may mean it will have to redeploy equipment stationed in Ukraine back to Russia. The country has also threatened retaliation, saying these strikes won't go unpunished. So it's possible there could be an escalation of attacks against Ukraine. The other unknown here is just how this changes the situation in Russia. There's obviously a psychological impact to coming under attack. Ukrainians know it well. They've been forced to live through air raid sirens and explosions. Ukrainian officials say Russians need to remember that their country is waging a violent war, and launching drones is one way to remind them.
Now, Breyer mentioned the use of cardboard drones. They're produced by a company in Australia, and Russia has accused that country of being drawn into the conflict. Next, an extraordinary find unearthed in Israel.
Oh my God!
Whoa! Let's see the moment a piece of history is revealed in our moment. You're looking at quite the discovery. 4 ancient Roman swords dating back 1,900 years. Now, they were found deep in a cave overlooking the Dead Sea. So the archaeologists were undoubtedly thrilled with the find, and tonight their uncontainable excitement is our moment.
Oh my God!
During our survey, we found in a small cave in the Judean desert a stash of 4 Roman swords inside a niche, very beautifully preserved. We started research the assemblage of swords, and now we understand that the swords are from the 2nd century CE. Probably they were hidden in the cave by rebels, Jewish rebels, during the Bar Kokhba revolt, and we think that they were stolen from a Roman army unit or were collected from the battlefield by the Jewish rebels.
Wow.
So keep in mind, they weren't looking for those. They were in that cave studying one of those icicle-like formations, a stalactite, when someone caught and, out of the corner of their eye saw the weapon stash. So it was a pretty good find. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.